Picture this. It's the late 18th century. France is in the throes of the French Revolution, and a young man named Napoleon Bonaparte is beginning to make his mark. This was a time of great upheaval and change. The monarchy had been overthrown and the French Republic was struggling to establish itself in the midst of economic hardship and political chaos. Amidst this turmoil, a young Corsican artillery officer was beginning to draw attention. Napoleon Bonaparte, a name that would soon echo through the halls of history. His strategic acumen and unyielding ambition were already evident, as he navigated the treacherous waters of revolution with a deft hand. This was a man who could turn the tide of a battle with a single command, a man who could inspire loyalty with a simple speech. In this turbulent time, Napoleon Bonaparte was about to rise like a comet. Fast forward to the late 1790s. Napoleon Bonaparte, no longer just a young man with ambitions, but a military genius making his mark on France. Napoleon's military prowess began to shine during the French Revolution. His strategic brilliance and fearless leadership led to several victories, most notably the Siege of Toulon, which ousted British forces from the city. This success propelled him to the rank of brigadier general at the tender age of 24. But Napoleon was not just a warrior. He was a master strategist in the political arena as well. He knew that to secure power, he needed to win the hearts and minds of the French people. And so, he positioned himself as a champion of the French Revolution, promising stability and prosperity in a nation that had been torn apart by years of conflict and upheaval. In 1799, Napoleon seized the opportunity to take control. In a move known as the Coup of 18 Brumaire, he and his allies ousted the French government, establishing a new political structure known as the Consulate. Napoleon naturally became the first consul, effectively making him the leader of France. But Napoleon had grander ambitions still. In 1804, he declared himself Emperor of the French, a title that hadn't been used in over 1,000 years. His coronation took place in the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris, where he broke with tradition by placing the crown on his own head, signifying that he owed his throne to no one but himself. Napoleon's rise was meteoric, to say the least. From a modest family in Corsica to the leader of one of Europe's most powerful nations, he was a testament to the power of ambition, strategy, and sheer force of will. His military successes, his political cunning, and his self-coronation marked a new era in French history. Napoleon, once a man of humble beginnings, was now the most powerful man in France. With the crown on his head, Napoleon was ready to reshape not just France, but Europe itself. With a keen mind and a formidable military prowess, Napoleon set out to bring about changes that would echo through time. His rule, often termed the Napoleonic era, was marked by sweeping reforms and significant impact on European politics, backed by his relentless military campaigns. In France, Napoleon set out to modernize the nation. Before his reign, France was a country in disarray, still reeling from the chaos of the French Revolution. But Napoleon, with his astute understanding of governance, brought in reforms that transformed France into an efficient, modern state. He established the Napoleonic Code, a legal framework that replaced the archaic laws of the old regime. This code, which emphasized equality before the law and the protection of civil liberties, became the cornerstone of the French legal system and influenced legal systems across the globe. But Napoleon's influence extended far beyond the borders of France. His impact on European politics was profound. He deftly maneuvered through the intricate web of European alliances and rivalries, expanding French influence across the continent. He dismantled old power structures and created satellite states, often installing members of his family as rulers. This reshaping of Europe's political landscape led to a shift in the balance of power, with France emerging as the dominant force. Yet, Napoleon's ambitions were not limited to political maneuverings. He led his armies across Europe, waging war against those who opposed him. His military campaigns, often referred to as the Napoleonic Wars, were a testament to his strategic genius. From the sun-baked sands of Egypt to the snow-capped peaks of Russia, Napoleon's Grande Armée marched, rewriting the map of Europe. These campaigns, while costly in terms of lives and resources, further cemented France's position as a leading European power. Napoleon's reign was a time of monumental change. Society was reformed, laws were rewritten, and boundaries were redrawn. His policies modernized France, and his military exploits reshaped Europe. His rule was a period of relentless expansion, of battles won and lost, of glory and defeat. It was an era marked by the rise of a new kind of leader, one who wielded power with an iron hand, yet had the vision to bring about transformative change. Napoleon Bonaparte, a man of humble origins, rose to become one of the most powerful figures in European history. His rule, while controversial, brought about changes that still resonate today. Under his leadership, France was transformed from a nation in turmoil to a powerhouse that dominated the continent. His military campaigns, while destructive, reshaped the political landscape of Europe. Under Napoleon's rule, France was transformed, and Europe was forever changed. But as they say, pride comes before a fall, and for Napoleon, fall was inevitable. Napoleon Bonaparte, whose rise and reign had been nothing short of meteoric, was not immune to the laws of gravity. What goes up must come down. Several factors contributed to his downfall, but the most significant was his own hubris. Napoleon's ambition knew no bounds, and he often overreached, embarking on military campaigns that were doomed from the start. He underestimated the resiliency of his enemies and overestimated his own military prowess and the loyalty of his allies. His defeat at Waterloo in June 1815 was the final nail in the coffin. The Battle of Waterloo was a grueling confrontation against the armies of the Seventh Coalition, led by the Duke of Wellington and Prussian Field Marshal Gebhard Leberecht von Blücher. The battle was intense and closely fought, but in the end, Napoleon's forces were overwhelmed. It marked the end of his rule as Emperor of the French and the beginning of his downfall. After Waterloo, Napoleon was exiled to the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic Ocean. Far from the grandeur of his former empire, Napoleon was reduced to a prisoner on this isolated outpost. It was a stark contrast to the power and prestige he had once held. But even in exile, Napoleon's influence continued. He spent his remaining years penning his memoirs, crafting a narrative of his life and reign that would shape how he was remembered. His downfall serves as a potent reminder of the perils of unchecked ambition and the transient nature of power. Even the greatest of emperors can fall from grace, their empires reduced to ashes in the blink of an eye. Napoleon's reign ended not with a bang, but with a whimper. Napoleon Bonaparte, the man, the emperor, the legend. His influence, however, did not end with his fall. The legacy of Napoleon Bonaparte is as grand and complex as the man himself. Following his fall, his influence continued to reverberate throughout France, Europe, and indeed the world. In France, the legal system he established, known as the Napoleonic Code, remains largely in place today. This code revolutionized legal systems across Europe, promoting principles of equality before the law, secularism, and property rights. The ripples of this legal transformation reached far beyond Europe, influencing the development of law in places as diverse as Quebec, Louisiana, and Japan. Outside of law, Napoleon's impact on warfare is undeniable. He revolutionized military organization and strategy, introducing the concept of total war, where all of a nation's resources, both military and civilian, are mobilized towards the war effort. His creation of large mobile armies with integrated artillery set a new standard for military operations. From Waterloo to the World Wars, echoes of Napoleon's military genius can be seen in every major conflict. In popular culture, Napoleon continues to be a figure of fascination and intrigue. His life and exploits have inspired countless books, films, and even video games. His iconic hat, his distinctive hand and waistcoat pose, and his reputed short stature have all become ingrained in our collective cultural memory. Yet Napoleon's legacy is not without its controversies. His expansionist policies led to years of war and conflict across Europe, and his reign was marked by ruthless autocracy and disregard for individual liberties. Despite these criticisms, his impact on history is undeniable. Whether loved or loathed, Napoleon Bonaparte's legacy continues to shape our world today. From laws that govern our societies, to the strategies that guide our wars, to the cultural symbols that populate our imaginations, the shadow of Napoleon looms large. His life serves as a reminder of the profound ways in which a single individual can shape the course of history.